Chapter 808. Okay. After knowing what they needed to know, Chung Xiuqin tugged at her husband's sleeve. Yuding's love is the most important thing. And I think Yuding has good taste. Little Du is quite good. He has pursued Yuding for so long, which shows that he is a sentimental person. Now, the most important thing is to take good care of Yuding in the future. Pfft. Su Yiyan heard this and had a hard time holding back his laughter. Mom, how could you call such a big guy who is 1.8 meters tall, and as strong as a bull, Little Du? As if sensing Su Yiyan's emotions, little Xingxing also cried out. Chung Xiuqin thought that he was echoing her, so she immediately laughed and teased him. Baby, you think so too, right? Ah. Little Xingxing saw that his grandmother was talking to him, so he cried even more loudly. Mr. Su wasn't as angry as before. His wife gave him a way out, so he didn't struggle much. All right. You make it sound like I'm the bad guy who's trying to break up a couple. You're not young anymore. You should know what you're doing. After that, he turned to Du Jingshan and said, You look quite honest. I hope you are. I only have one sister. If you dare to bully her, I will never let you go. No. Du Jingshan hurriedly said. I will treat Tingting well. I will not let anyone bully her. Brother, please rest assured. That better be the case. Mr. Su did not refute the way Du Jingshan called him, which meant that he agreed to the marriage. Su Yuding and Du Jingshan looked at each other and said cheerfully, Thank you, brother. What are you thanking me for? You chose it yourself. As long as you don't regret it. After Su Yuding and Du Jingshan talked about the matter, the atmosphere between them was not as serious as before. As the hosts of the banquet, Su Yiyan and Du Jingshan could not leave for long. A group of people quickly left the small private room and went to find the people from the Chung and Lan families. Hua Chenhuan's short absence made the two families sit together by coincidence. Because Su Yiyan had casually mentioned Qin Xueru's pregnancy when they were in the Lan family, the two families quickly became familiar with each other. Chung Juanhao and his wife, as well as Lan Minghan and his wife, brought their children over today. The Lan family's baby was 2 to 3 months younger than Little Porridge. He was also a boy. Is this your Bao Bao? He looked really sturdy. Previously, when young aunt came to our house, she mentioned that her aunt was also pregnant. She also shared with me many things that pregnant women should pay attention to. She said that she heard it from you. At that time, I really wanted to meet you. Qin Xueru did not expect such a reason. Her expression softened. I'm old. When I was pregnant with this child, my family was more nervous. Your baby looks so good. He's white and chubby, pink and tender. He's not like our baby, who's so black like a charcoal ball. The little guy from the Lan family rarely went out. His little face was round and white. Compared to Little Porridge, who was brought out to show off every day by his grandfather, who had become a charcoal ball under the sun, they were the polar opposite. At this moment, the little guy was staring at Little Porridge without blinking. He seemed to be wondering why this baby, who was about the same age as him, was so black. When old Master Chung heard his daughter-in-law's words, he was not convinced. So what if he's black? It's healthy to be black. Yin was much darker than him when he was young. Su Yiyan, who had just walked closer with the baby in her arms, heard this. Grandpa, can you not sentence me in public so easily? Give your granddaughter some face. Chapter 809. Old Master Cheng's words made everyone laugh. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. Seeing that everyone was so happy, he didn't say anything in the end. In addition to these three families, Su Yiyan also sent an invitation to Ling Xiaoqi. It was just that Ling Xiaoqi came relatively late, and beside her was a flower protector. When Su Yiyan saw the two of them appear together, he was stunned. He sized them up and said jokingly, You're here to attend my son's 1-month-old banquet with your family? Ling Xiaoqi's expression froze, and then her face turned red. She stomped her feet anxiously and said, Yiyan, what nonsense are you talking about? What family? We're not. Not what? Ling Xiaoqi choked and stole a glance at Ning Xiyuan. It's not what you think. Oh. Su Yiyan nodded perfunctorily and changed the topic. If it's not what I think, then what is it? Ling Xiaoqi pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Ning Siyuan's lips curved slightly, and he stood up to smooth things over for her. Miss Su, don't make fun of us. Miss Ling and I met on the way, and it happened to be on the way, so we came together. Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. On the way. Su Yiyan had been to the Ning family before, and Su Yiyan also knew where Ling Xiaoqi was staying now. The two places were in two completely different directions. On the way? Like hell, I'll believe you. However, considering that Ling Xiaoqi was thin-skinned, he might really anger her if he continued to tease her. It's indeed not safe for a girl like Xiaoqi to come out at night. I feel much more at ease now that President Ning can send her here on the way. Thank you. Miss Su, you're too polite. It's just a small matter. The two of them looked at each other with a tacit understanding and laughed. Just then, Hua Chenhuan came over. Su Yiyan stuffed her baby into his arms and said in a low voice, I'm going to the bathroom. You take the baby and greet them. I'll be back soon. Hua Chenhuan furrowed her eyebrows and said worriedly, Me too. You want to go too? Before Hua Chenhuan could say anything, Ling Xiaoqi, who had been eavesdropping, spoke first with a subtle expression. Are you too serious? You even have to go to the bathroom together. So, are you going to the men's room or the women's room? As soon as these words were spoken, the guests' gazes were all focused on Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan. Hua Chenhuan. Su Yiyan blushed and coughed softly. We're just going to the bathroom. This is Uncle's territory. Nothing will happen. Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment before compromising. Come back early. Okay. As soon as Su Yiyan left, Zai Zai immediately waved his little hands and cried out. And with his cry, everyone realized that this 1-month-old baby was being held in Hua Chenhuan's arms. Damn, the boss is holding the little prince. Isn't the point the boss's standard posture of holding a baby? It's obvious that he often holds the baby at home. Maybe he even helped change the baby's diapers. It's not impossible if you think about it carefully. With how much the boss cares about Madam, he definitely doesn't want Madam to be tired from taking care of the baby. Shouldn't he help? Are you stupid? It's not like the boss doesn't have a nanny at home. Why would he need Madam to take care of the baby? How tired can she be? Then explain why the boss's posture of holding the baby is so skillful. Chapter 8:10. She was met with a long silence. After some time, someone covered his face and wailed softly. The domineering CEO turned into a virtuous stay-at-home dad in a second. This is too much of a shock. I need to calm down. Ning Siyuan also needed to calm down. Ling Xiaoqi had visited the family many times during Su Yiyan's confinement period, so she was used to seeing Hua Chenhuan with a baby. This was the first time Ning Siyuan had seen it. His gaze drifted to the child. He happened to see Hua Chenhuan looking down at Zai Zai in his arms. The father and son looked at each other, and the atmosphere was a little tense. If it had been anyone else, they would have cried when they saw Hua Chenhuan's cold face. However, the little guy seemed to be very happy. He waved his arms and babbled. Hua Chenhuan didn't know what he was saying. He shook him twice symbolically and asked with a serious face, Are you hungry? Or do you want to pee? Ning Siyuan. Wake up. He's only a month old. He cries when he's hungry or peeing. Do you think he needs to tell you in advance? The employees who were gathered together and whispering not far away had already recovered from the initial shock. Once they accepted Hua Chenhuan's stay-at-home dad side, their feelings towards their big boss instantly became complicated. On one hand, they felt that this was definitely not the domineering big boss who could stop children from crying at night. On the other hand, they felt that this big boss was too down to earth. They were in the same world and had the same father. No matter who you were, you had to feed your child and change his diapers when you became a stay-at-home dad. There were even a few people who were thinking rebelliously, Little Prince, give me a piss. I want to see the big boss change the little prince's diapers. A few female employees were mesmerized by Su Yiyan's baby's beauty. They were itching to take a few photos of the baby. Hua Chenhuan was holding Zai Zai. Father and son were in the same frame. To them, this was a scene from the heavens. His claws were restless, and he wanted to take out his phone to take a picture of this scene. However, he did not forget the identity of these two people, and did not dare to act rashly. On the other hand, Yu Zian and the other two didn't have as many concerns. After being stunned for a while, the three of them decisively turned their cameras to Hua Chenhuan and started recording a short video. This extremely contrasting scene had to be recorded and stored properly. If Hua Chenhuan left them to work overtime in the future, they could take out this video and watch it. It would also be a consolation. As for whether he would be held accountable by Hua Chenhuan, in a while they would pass a copy of this to young madam. With young madam around, no matter how angry young master was, he wouldn't do anything to them. They were really clever. Su Yiyan, who had no idea that she had become a scapegoat, couldn't wait to go back to see the little brat after going to the bathroom. In her anxiety, she did not notice that there was someone in the corridor outside the bathroom. One ran out, and the other walked in. The two of them inevitably bumped into each other. Su Yiyan screamed and subconsciously leaned back. She thought that she was going to fall to the ground this time, but an excessively white hand suddenly reached out and accurately grabbed her wrist, forcibly pulling her back. Su Yiyan steadied herself and patted her chest with lingering fear. She didn't come back to her senses for a long time, until... "Are you okay?" Su Yiyan finally remembered the person who bumped into her. She looked up and narrowed her eyes. "You." Before she could finish speaking, she seemed to have realized something. Her face suddenly darkened. Damn it, this guy was still holding her hand and not letting go. Chapter 8:11. The man's hand was very cold, so cold that it was not the temperature that a human should have. This coldness came from the place where the two touched, and a row of goosebumps appeared on the back of Su Yiyan's hand. Su Yiyan struggled for a while, but she did not move at all. Her patience was also exhausted. "Sir, please let go of my hand or else. Su Yiyan's eyes were full of hostility. "Or else you may not be able to keep your hand." Dou Tianyi was stunned, and then he could not help but laugh. "Miss Su seems to be different from the rumors." Su Yiyan rubbed her aching wrist and frowned when she heard his words. "Do you know me?" Dou Tianyi did not answer directly but asked back. "Miss Su doesn't know me? Why should I know you?" Dou Tianyi looked at her deeply and smiled. "It's okay if you don't know me. You will know me soon." Su Yiyan's face changed slightly. Just as she was about to say something, Dou Tianyi had already turned and left. Su Yiyan subconsciously took a step forward and stopped. She looked at his back as he walked away with a complicated expression on her face. What was this person doing here? The person in question had already left, so there was no way to answer this question. Su Yiyan pursed her lips and turned back to the banquet. Hua Chenhuan had been waiting outside for a long time. When she saw her come out, she immediately went to greet her. "What took you so long? Something happened?" Su Yiyan said as she carried the baby back, looking serious. "What happened? I just met Dou Tianyi at the bathroom door." "Dou Tianyi?" Hua Chenhuan's face changed immediately. Thinking about how Dou Tianyi had never given up on searching for Su Yiyan, Hua Chenhuan immediately pulled Su Yiyan over nervously. "Did he do anything to you?" "No." Su Yiyan shook her head and briefly explained what had happened. "I wanted to come back to you guys as soon as possible. When I came out, I was in a hurry and bumped into him at the bathroom door. He helped me up and left without saying a word." Hua Chenhuan looked at the red mark on Su Yiyan's wrist that had yet to fade. Her eyes were deep and serene. Just like Su Yiyan, he also felt that Dou Tianyi's appearance here and his encounter with Su Yiyan was definitely not as simple as a coincidence. Most importantly, how did he get in here? In order to hold the little fellow's 1-month-old birthday party, this hotel had closed its doors today and specially emptied the venue. Non-invitees were not allowed to enter. Logically speaking, Dou Tianyi should not have been able to enter. Su Yiyan was reminded by him and realized that something was wrong. She frowned and said, "Maybe he got in with someone's invitation." They had sent out neither too many nor too few invitations. Just the employees of Hua Chenhuan's company alone had sent out an unknown number of invitations. With Dou Tianyi's ability, it was not difficult for him to get an invitation and sneak in. However, if this was the case, It further proved that his appearance here today was intentional and not a coincidence. Hua Chenhuan thought deeper than Su Yiyan. If Dou Tianyi really got an invitation from someone else and sneaked in, if this person was a businessman, it would be fine. But if this person was an employee of his company, he sold his invitation just for a little money. This alone could not be allowed to stay. Moreover, most of the employees in his company had some guesses about Su Yiyan's identity. If he had really been bribed, then Dou Tianyi had already. Chapter 8:12. Hua Chenhuan's eyes were cold. He had already begun to think about how to get someone to investigate the people under him. Although Su Yiyan didn't think as much as he did, she could guess the main reason why Dou Tianyi suddenly appeared here. Chenhuan, do you think he already knows? Knows what? Knows that I'm the owner of the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Hua Chenhuan's eyes were slightly cold. Why do you ask? He just called me Miss Su directly and asked me how I didn't know him. From his tone, he seemed to be very sure that I know him, but I haven't met him before. At least, she hadn't met him as the miss of the Su family and Hua Chenhuan's wife. When Hua Chenhuan heard this, he had already guessed it in his heart. He comforted her. It's also possible that when Jingping mentioned you to him, Su Yiyan pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Dou Tianyi's attitude towards her today was very strange. It wasn't bad. It even had some intimacy and inexplicable familiarity. If he really knew her from when Jingping, his attitude would definitely not be like this. No matter what, he must have some ulterior motive for appearing at this time. You should be careful these days. Don't contact him. Although she said so, Su Yiyan certainly wouldn't take the initiative to contact him. However, judging from today's situation, someone might not have such self-awareness. The banquet in the hotel was still in full swing. No one noticed that someone had left early. Outside the hotel, a black car that almost blended into the night waited for a long time. Finally, its real owner arrived. Boss. Liu looked at the man who sat in the back seat. His face was as pale as paper, and some cold sweat could be faintly seen on his forehead. She looked worried. Dou Tianyi leaned against the back seat for a while. Finally, his face was not as ugly as before. I'm fine. Liu looked at him with some disapproval. Boss, if you want to see Miss Su, you can ask someone to invite her over. Why do you have to go through so much trouble to attend such a small banquet? Your body. Before Liu could finish speaking, Dou Tianyi had already glanced over. Liu's words came to an abrupt end as she shut her mouth in embarrassment. However, her gaze towards Dou Tianyi was still somewhat depressed and worried. Dou Tianyi coughed twice. His face regained some color, and his eyebrows were slightly furrowed. He was a little annoyed. He had only been out for a short walk for less than an hour, but he was already so tired. His body really couldn't drag on any longer. Invite her? Are you sure? Liu choked for a moment. Putting aside the fact that Miss Su was not willing to come when they invited her, just the bodyguards around her were not simple. Even if they used force, they might not be able to bring him out. Even so, you don't have to be in such a hurry to see her. It's not like you don't know that Miss Su's impression of you right now might be. I know that her impression of me definitely won't be good. Then you. Some people and some things are just rumors. Seeing is believing. Dou Tianyi knew that because of Wen Jingping and the drama in Hai Yi, Su Yiyan might already know about him and might not have a good impression of him. However, he still wanted to see with his own eyes this woman who might be able to let him live a few more years. He wanted to see if she was as good as the rumors said, and if she was worthy of his special treatment. Chapter 8:13. Liu was silent for a moment, then asked tentatively, "What's your answer?" Dou Tianyi's lips curled up slightly as he replied, "She's different from that woman." He seemed to have said something, but also seemed to have said nothing. Liu opened her mouth, but in the end, she didn't ask anything. The guests who came to congratulate them ate until their bellies were round. As the star of the banquet, the little guy earned a lot. Su Yiyan and the others felt relieved and didn't accept the red packets from the company, but they couldn't stop the Chung family and the Lan family from bringing gifts directly. Su Yiyan and Liu naturally couldn't ask people to take it back, so they helped the baby keep it. After the event, there were a lot of gifts. Su Yiyan couldn't help but sigh. No wonder everyone wants to be rich. He's so little, but he received so many gifts when he was only a month old. Selling him can guarantee that he won't have to worry about food and clothing in the future. Why would he need to work hard in the future? Don't you think so? Don't you think so? Su Yiyan poked Zai chubby little face as she looked at him. Zai thought that she was playing with him, so he moved his hands and opened his mouth to smile, revealing his toothless teeth and the little dimple on the right side of his face. This dimple was inherited from Su Yiyan. When she was young, Cheng Xiuqin especially liked to poke her dimples. Now Su Yiyan liked to poke her own Zai. It could be said that they came from the same lineage. Hua Chenhuan looked at his wife and child from the side, and his eyes were full of a warm smile. They have to be returned. Outsiders always talked about how rich people were, but in fact rich people were also people, and they also had relationships. No matter how many gifts others gave their children, they would have to return them in the future. It was like children happily receiving red packets during the new year, but they didn't think about how many red packets others gave them. Their parents had to return the same amount. They even had to add more when they returned. That's true. Su Yiyan suddenly stopped being envious. She tidied up all these things and held them in her arms. Okay, these are all mine. Hua Chenhuan. As if she could read Hua Chenhuan's mind, Su Yiyan smiled a little treacherously. There is a kind of love in this world called mom and dad help you save your red packet. Hua Chenhuan was amused by her. You are so experienced. Did you encounter the same thing when you were young? I have, but not to this extent. When Su Yiyan was young, the Su family wasn't as rich as it was now. In addition, old Master Cheng's identity was rather special, so the Cheng family was used to keeping a low profile. Her birthday definitely wasn't as grand as her son's. She didn't have as many relatives and friends visiting, and the gifts she received weren't as luxurious as the ones her son received. Hearing her words, Hua Chenhuan leaned over and hugged her waist. She smiled faintly and said, "When it's your birthday next year, I'll also hold a big party for you." Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing. "I'm not a child anymore," she rebuked. "It's not like only children can celebrate their birthdays. Besides, Hua Chenhuan didn't finish his sentence. Su Yiyan didn't wait for him to continue for a long time, so she turned to look at him in confusion. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have been waiting for this moment. He took the opportunity to kiss her and said softly, "You're not a child. You're my baby." Su Yiyan was stunned. She immediately blushed. The two parents were so lovey-dovey that they obviously forgot about the little accident on the bed. Until the little girl was unhappy that she was ignored and started crying. Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan. They were done for. They had taught the child the wrong things. Chapter 8:14. After the baby's 1-month-old celebration, Su Yiyan was also out of confinement. Dundun, who had been fostered at Ling Xiaoqi's place, was also sent back. Along with it was the little male puppy that Hua gave birth to. This puppy's name was Silly Boy. When Su Yiyan heard it before, she almost choked. Of all the names, she had to call him Silly Boy. Was she trying to bully it because it didn't understand the meaning of these two words? Later, after coming into contact with this puppy, Su Yiyan realized that she had wronged Ling Xiaoqi. This dog was indeed a silly boy. Specifically, this dog's reaction was always half a beat slower. When called, it would always be stunned for more than 10 seconds before it could react. In addition, this dog was the largest of the 3 dogs that were born at the same time. When it was at Ling Xiaoqi's house, the little guy was always very enthusiastic about helping his sister lick her fur. In the end, because it was too strong, it always licked his sister until she rolled on the ground. In the eyes of Hua and Dundun, the older brother was deliberately bullying his sister. They slapped the puppy to the ground. This dog could not learn. Next time, it would still run to help its sister lick her fur. Moreover, it did not improve at all. It would be slapped to the ground by its parents again. Su Yiyan. This dog was not only a silly boy, but also a bachelor. When Dundun was brought back from Ling Xiaoqi's house, it was still a little unhappy. It directed and acted out a scene with Hua to send them off. But as soon as it returned to the family Hua, this guy immediately showed its true colors. It arrogantly took its eldest son to every corner of the house. It seemed to be showing off to its son. Look, this is the country that your father fought for. In the future, half of it will be yours. Little Xingxing was very curious about the two dogs that had suddenly appeared at home. When it held the milk bottle and drank milk, its eyes stared unblinkingly at the two dogs' buttocks. When Su Yiyan saw this scene, he suddenly remembered that when he had first flirted with Hua Chunhuan, he had used Dundun's heart-shaped butt. The little fellow was the fruit of her and Hua Chunhuan's love. Su Yiyan did not find it strange that she was interested in this. Instead, she felt like laughing. Dundun, on the other hand, had an innate sense of superiority towards this new two-legged beast. This was the two-legged beast that came out of its master's stomach. It looked really fragile. It had been more than a month, but it still needed to be carried around. It couldn't even walk on its own. Forget it, forget it. Seeing that this two-legged beast looked quite similar to its master, it would share some of its territory with him. Ling Xiaoqi raised the two dogs very well. They had been vaccinated, and she often bathed and groomed them. Su Yiyan did not guard against them, and did not allow them to get close to the child. At this moment he saw Dundun take the initiative to approach little Xingxing. It even put its paws on the side of little Xingxing's cradle, and helped to push it. There was a hint of a smile in his eyes. In the eyes of Su Yiyan and Hua Chunhuan, the baby's full moon ceremony was just a small ceremony to share with friends and relatives that there was a new member in the family. However, in the eyes of some people, the impact of this ceremony was far more than that. This point was greatly demonstrated in the following week. The head of the technical department. Report. The flower of the human resources department is no longer single. As soon as this message appeared in the company's large group chat, it immediately caused a huge commotion. The pillar of the publicity department. In the end, it was the wrong choice. Blood tears. JPG, everyone in the company knew that the big boss of the publicity department liked the flower of the human resources department. He had been pursuing her for a long time, but had not been able to win her over. They did not expect that in just a few days, someone else would intercept him. Chapter 8:15. For a moment, rows and rows of stroking a dog's head emojis appeared in the group. After comforting this lovelorn young man, everyone in the company had to face an extremely sad matter. Single dog number 1 of the secretarial department. From today onwards, the single dogs in the company have lost another target to pursue. The fertile water has flowed into the fields of outsiders after all. Vicissitudes of life lighting up cigarettes. JPG flower of the technical department. This is the 6th this week, right? After the most popular guy in the technical department, the flower of the publicity department, Little Wu from the legal department, Little Zhang from the finance department, and Little Li from the logistics department, the flower of the human resources department also could not escape the love magic network. Lady at the front desk. QQ, why are so many people no longer single, but I'm still single? The person pursuing Little Wu seems to be an especially handsome rich second-generation heir. It's said that he's super good-looking and doesn't lose to the little fresh meats in the entertainment industry at all. Sob sob sob, when will such a handsome and rich man like me take a fancy to me? I just want to be in a sweet and romantic relationship. Lady at the publicity department. Good girl, stop dreaming, you're shameless. Flower of the technical department. Above me, love at first sight is not about love, it's about face. Although others might be able to see your brilliance after coming into contact with you, who would be able to see you if you didn't have a beautiful face that still shone brightly in the crowd? Not to mention interacting with you. The lady at the front desk did not receive a reply for a long time after she sent this message. Flower of the technical department. Where is she? Little number 2 at the front desk. She ran away to cry. Flower of the technical department. Brother at the secretarial department. Speaking of which, the recent singles seem to have all met at the little prince's 1-month birthday party. Lady at the publicity department. That's normal. Usually, there are only a few people around. If there was a call, it would have come long ago. If you go to the party, You can meet more people you haven't met before. Maybe you'll fall in love. Brother at the secretarial department. What I mean is, there are so many single dogs in the company. Are you really not considering having a social gathering with the other subsidiaries? Everyone. After a short silence, many people had an exclamation mark in their hearts. That's right. Facing these old rookies all day long. When would they be able to get out of singleness? They might as well have a social gathering. Maybe their princess, on a white horse would appear. A large number of single dogs in the company began to stir, but they did not dare to run directly to the boss to make a request. They could only secretly run to their own department heads to give feedback. Then it would be passed on to Yuzian and the others. Just like that, Yuzian and the others inexplicably received a lot of proposals for the future development and reform of the company from various departments. Among them, the one floating at the top was a request for several companies to organize a social gathering. There were many reasons below, such as because there have been more single people in the company recently. It has caused the employees to be impetuous, which affects the employees' physical and mental health and work efficiency. Friendship can deepen the mutual ties between the subsidiaries, and if it can develop into a romantic relationship, it can promote the continuous and harmonious development of the two companies. He made it sound so high-sounding. Wasn't he just trying to take advantage of their company's cabbage? How could they not know what these pigs were thinking? However, despite their disdain, the three of them discussed for a while, and decided to report this matter back to Hua Chenhuan, and let him make the decision. Hua Chenhuan never thought that he would one day receive a social gathering report from his subordinates. His face darkened on the spot, and his eyes narrowed dangerously. He secretly wondered if some people had too much free time recently. Should he find something else for them to do? Chapter 8:16. Achoo. Yuzian sneezed loudly. He wrapped his arms around his chest and shivered from the cold. Why do I feel so cold all of a sudden? Am I suffering from some kind of terminal illness? Should I ask young mistress to take a look at me? Hearing this, Gu Xiaoyang rolled his eyes. From experience, this kind of situation usually means that you are about to face a great disaster. Disaster. Yuzian's expression changed immediately. What disaster? I haven't done anything recently. Did you forget the proposal we sent to young master this morning? You mean? Yuzian's expression stiffened, and he said with some hope, Ha 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 ha. This matter shouldn't be so serious that it's going to be a disaster, right? Gu Xiaoyang didn't comment. Who knew what young master was thinking? Yuzian and the others didn't realize that they were on the verge of death. They kept jumping around and could send themselves to hell at any time. Su Yiyan had just gone upstairs when she saw her man sitting in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with a dark face. She couldn't help but feel a little strange. What's wrong? Did something happen at the company? Nothing. Why do you look so upset? Su Yiyan said as she sat in Hua Chenhuan's arms and poked his face. Su Yiyan was probably the only person in the world who dared to treat him like this, and he didn't have to worry about Hua Chenhuan's revenge. Hua Chenhuan let her poke him a few times before he grabbed her hand and explained the matter briefly. Friendship party? Su Yiyan blinked in surprise and curiosity. Why do you want to have a friendship party all of a sudden? Hua Chenhuan looked at her with a complicated expression. This might be our fault. How does it have anything to do with us? Hua Chenhuan didn't say anything. Instead, he pulled up the discussion in the company's group chat, so that she could understand the matter more directly. Unexpectedly, Su Yiyan's first reaction when she saw the group chat was, You actually opened a smurf account in the company's group chat. Hua Chenhuan. Was that the main point? Moreover, what's wrong with opening a side account? Who didn't have a few sock puppets these days? I'm still a sock puppet in your live stream. Su Yiyan naturally knew this as well. After complaining, she began to look at the chat records of the company's employees. Only then did she realize that the reason why they wanted to hold a social gathering was that on the day of the full moon banquet, several of the company's single partners had left their single partners. As a result, the company was overflowing with dog food, and the single dogs were dejected. The corner of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. She really couldn't understand how the baby's full moon celebration had turned into a blind date. I won't take the blame for this. Obviously it's them, Tortoise and Green Bean, who like each other. What does it have to do with us? Maybe they already know each other, but they just haven't confirmed their relationship before. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan's fearful expression, and her face was not as dark as before. She chuckled softly and said, "According to what I know, these people who have left their single partners all harmoniously discussed the food they ate that night, and strongly recommended a few dishes to each other. Only then did they like each other and develop a relationship." What the hell? Hooking up with each other so easily? Are you sure these people who have left their single partners aren't foodies? It's getting harder and harder to understand the thoughts of young people these days. Hua Chenhuan couldn't help but laugh. Then why don't we not let them hold it? Don't. Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan plaintively. Let them hold it. It's bad enough that the singles are abused. If this drags on, perhaps no one will want them in the future. Chapter 8:17. Fortunately, the employees of Hua Chenhuan's company were not here. Otherwise, they would have died on the spot. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she keenly felt that something was wrong. Do they want all the people in your subsidiaries to participate? Yes. Hua Chenhuan frowned and explained. They think that more people means more choices. Most of the people in my company know each other. If it's only held within my company, it may not be effective. That's right. After all, the choice is two-way. You like them, but they may not like you back. Is that so? Hua Chenhuan raised her eyebrows slightly. She stepped forward and put her arms around Su Yiyan's waist. If I didn't like you in the first place, what would you do? You don't like me. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and chuckled. Then I don't want you anymore. The smile on Hua Chenhuan's face suddenly froze, and the atmosphere around her became colder. Su Yiyan was not scared at all. She asked, "Would you not like me?" "No." "Then that's it." Su Yiyan did not give Hua Chenhuan a chance to respond. She reached out and hugged Hua Chenhuan's neck. "What about you?" "What? If you like me, but I don't like you, what would you do?" Hua Chenhuan said without thinking. "You like me." "I mean if you like me, but I don't like you, what would you do?" Hua Chenhuan subconsciously wanted to say that it was impossible. However, when she met Su Yiyan's eyes, she suddenly could not say that. If you don't like me, I will try my best to make you like me." "How will you try your best to make me like you?" Hua Chenhuan was stunned. She met Su Yiyan's eyes. The unspeakable thoughts in her heart suddenly came out, and the hands holding her trembled slightly. It wasn't fear or anger, but excitement. "I will hide you in a place where no one can see you. I will be the only one there. I won't hurt you, but I will imprison you and restrict you. I won't let you meet anyone, and you can only have me in your world. I will make myself your world." In the end, Hua Chenhuan couldn't bear to hurt her. No matter how much he wanted to force her to fall in love with him, he didn't dare and didn't want to hurt her. Su Yiyan had always been aware of Hua Chenhuan's subtle possessiveness towards her. Back when her legs were crippled, she might have been able to restrain it. But now, this possessiveness was becoming more and more obvious. She just didn't expect that Hua Chenhuan had held back for so long and only had the idea of imprisoning her. She thought that she would have to experience mental and physical torture, especially the melodramatic entanglement of getting your heart even though he couldn't get you. It wasn't exciting at all. Why did she suddenly feel a little disappointed? At that time, if Hua Chenhuan had known what Su Yiyan was thinking, he would have realized that all these years of endurance were useless. He would have turned into a wolf on the spot and executed Su Yiyan on the spot. You're giving advice in hindsight. Su Yiyan curled her lips and glared at Hua Chenhuan with disgust. I don't know who was the one who didn't even dare to appear in front of me. She watched her nephew get engaged with me and was indifferent. I wasn't indifferent. Before Su Yiyan finished speaking, Hua Chenhuan had already interrupted her. I wasn't indifferent. When you got engaged, I was so jealous that I wanted to kill someone. Chapter 8:18. Su Yiyan was stunned. and her eyes suddenly felt a little hot. Since you are so jealous that you want to kill someone, why don't you take me away? Hua Chenhuan pursed his lips and did not speak. I know even if you don't say it. You are afraid of involving me. You are afraid that I won't like you. You are afraid that I won't be happy with you. Su Yiyan hugged Hua Chenhuan's waist tightly and scolded in a low voice. You fool. How do you know that I don't like you if you don't fight for it? Well, I am a fool. Hua Chenhuan agreed unconditionally. When he recalled what Su Yiyan said, he felt as if he had been separated from them for a lifetime. It had only been 2 years, but it seemed as if a lifetime had passed. Those things seemed to have only happened in his previous life. Su Yiyan nestled in Hua Chenhuan's arms and was silent for a long time. Then she said in a muffled voice, Fortunately. What? Fortunately, we are in love with each other. Hua Chenhuan was stunned. After he reacted, he chuckled and said, Yes, fortunately, we are in love with each other. Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing when she saw him laughing. She looked at his eyes that reflected her and said softly, You are my whole world now. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered, and with a trace of piety, he lowered his head and kissed her forehead. You are also my whole world. Su Yiyan's face flushed. She coughed softly and said, Since they want to do it, let's do it. By the way, call the bachelors of the Hua Corporation of the right age. If they want to do it, let's do it big, so that we won't have to spend more effort in the future. After that, she seemed to think of something and frowned slightly. Isn't it bad to let the people of the Hua Corporation get involved? Let's forget it, and let these companies deal with it themselves. Although Hua Chenhuan had used Hua Xiaofeng's insignificant help to pull Hua Qihan down from the position of the head of the Hua Corporation without much effort. However, Hua Qihan had been in charge of the Hua Corporation for so many years. Even if he wasn't the person in charge, there must be a lot of his people left. When the Hua Corporation changed hands, these people were worried that the new boss would make drastic changes. They didn't know when they would be implicated, so they temporarily quieted down. But if you ignore them for a long time, who knows when they will run out and bite you, biting off a piece of meat from your body. This was also the reason why Hua Chenhuan was initially reluctant to take over the Hua Corporation. The current Hua Corporation was no longer the Hua Corporation her father had founded. It was no longer the Hua Corporation that her father had founded. The various forces were intertwined, and no matter what, they would be eaten into an empty shell sooner or later. If they were to spend the effort to get rid of them, it would be better to directly overthrow them and rebuild a new company. It's okay. Your suggestion is very good. Let's do it. Su Yiyan looked surprised. Are you okay? It'll be fine. Xiao Yang and the others will keep an eye on it. Maybe we can use this to lure out some people who are unwilling to be left out. In that case, you will have contributed greatly. Su Yiyan was stunned for a while before she understood what Hua Chenhuan meant. She exclaimed, You mean a honey trap? Why is it a honey trap and not a honey trap? That's fine, but aren't the companies under you all engaged in research and development? Generally speaking, aren't there more boys in this kind of business? The success rate of a honey trap should be higher than a honey trap. To be honest, it did make sense. So is it what I think it is? Yes. TSK. Sure enough, you people who play tricks have dirty hearts. You can think of a honey trap for a good blind date. You are too scheming. Chapter 819. Su Yiyan, who was busy lamenting about how scheming capitalists were, had obviously forgotten that the initial incentive for this handsome man trap came from her casual suggestion. By the way, speaking of the Hua Corporation, how is the matter with Hua Xiaofeng? Hearing Su Yiyan ask about Hua Xiaofeng, the smile on Hua Chenhuan's face immediately disappeared. Su Yiyan saw the change in his expression and frowned. He still refuses to talk? Is he deliberately playing with us? He said that he would only be willing to show evidence when Wen Jingping's reputation is completely ruined. Wait until Wen Jingping's reputation is completely ruined. Su Yiyan felt that this was a big trap. The male and female protagonists' halos were linked together. In order to ruin Wen Jingping's reputation, wouldn't they have to deal with Dou Tianyi first? Thinking of Do Tianyi, Su Yiyan felt a headache coming on. Wen Jingping was easy to deal with. If it weren't for the fact that Su Yiyan was afraid that if she died, it would cause the world to collapse, she would have been defeated a long time ago. But this Do Tianyi, it's okay. I didn't have much hope for him in the first place. But, do you know why Uncle suddenly came back? Su Yiyan looked confused. She didn't understand why this matter was related to her uncle again. Didn't he come back to see us and the baby? This is only one of the reasons. There are other reasons. He found some clues about the accident my parents were involved in back then, and followed the clues to come back to the country. Su Yiyan's expression changed slightly. You're saying that the group of people who killed your parents might still be lurking somewhere in the country? Hua Chenhuan looked at his wife's suddenly pale face, and knew what she was worried about. He subconsciously tightened his arms around her, and comforted her. It's just a possibility. Moreover, it's been so many years, they might not be alive. In Hua Chenhuan's opinion, bad people like them would never lay down their butcher's knife, and wash their hands of gold. They might have already died at the hands of others without them knowing. Of course, these words were only meant to comfort Su Yiyan, and put her at ease for the time being. Compared to believing that they were all dead, Hua Chenhuan was more willing to believe that they were still alive, and that sooner or later, they would fall into his and his uncle's hands. Uncle is already investigating. I believe there will be results soon. Hua Chenhuan quickly changed the topic. Your brother came to see you just now. What's the matter? Su Yiyan wanted to ask more, but she knew that Hua Chenhuan didn't want her to continue asking. She bit her lip and chose to compromise. It's nothing important. It's just that the Research Institute said that Professor Yi and the others want to prioritize purchasing a batch of finished Chinese medicinal herbs as teaching materials. The Research Institute was worried that they would make me unhappy if they gave them a green light, so they asked my brother to come and ask me. The director of the Research Institute was also in a difficult position. On one side was his own teacher, and on the other side was a prestigious retired senior in the institute. If he didn't handle it well, it would turn into a bloody battlefield. The best solution was to first ask for Su Yiyan's consent, and not offend either side. Hua Chenhuan more or less guessed some of the twists and turns in this matter. He smiled faintly and said, "What's your answer?" I agreed. Take it as a thank you for their righteous words before. As soon as Su Yiyan agreed, Yi Qiliang received the news. Let's not talk about how happy they were for the time being. Su Yiyan was out of confinement, and it was time for her to go back to Dongqing City. Before she returned to the company, Su Yiyan understood what Do Tianyi meant when he said, "We'll get to know each other soon," on the night of his 1-month birthday party. Chapter 820. Yin, welcome back. Su Yiyan had just entered Dongqing when she bumped into Xia Junsheng, who had specially come to pick her up. Brother Junsheng, thank you for your hard work while I was away. It's my pleasure. Xia Junsheng smiled and led Su Yiyan upstairs. Returning to her office after half a year, Su Yiyan felt like a lifetime had passed. Especially since she had been busy with her pregnancy and postpartum confinement. Xia Junsheng had not bothered her with the company's internal affairs as long as they were not too important. After being idle for so long, Su Yiyan was not used to suddenly returning to work. Fortunately, after sitting down, Su Yiyan quickly regained her composure and went straight to the point. You said on the phone that Hai-Yi wants to work with us? Yes. Xia Junsheng handed the proposal that he had prepared earlier to Su Yiyan. This is the proposal that they sent over. Su Yiyan took the document and flipped through it. They want to work with us on a variety show and a Xianxia TV series? Yes. Hai-Yi also specifically pointed out that if the cooperation is successful, Hai-Yi will send Zhongyi to take charge of the variety show and Zhuo Wanshu will join the series. Zhongyi's position in Hai-Yi was just like Shui Kaiwei and Hong Hui's position in Dongqing. Hai-Yi was indeed sincere to write him into the cooperation proposal. As for Zhuo Wanshu? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. The second female lead who had a fight with Wen Jingping? Yes, that's her. Hai-Yi is really willing to spend a lot of money. Although Zhuo Wanshu's PR was done well and created the image that she was dedicated to her work, She had to withdraw from the cast due to her illness, so as not to drag the crew down. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that this matter was actually quite embarrassing. Two female artists of the same company had a public fight. It was embarrassing. No matter who the company helped, they would lose face. When this matter first came out, Su Yiyan, like many people, thought that Zhuo Xiaohua was done for. Who would have thought that in the next few months, not only was Miss Zhuo not frozen out, but her career had even improved. Su Yiyan then realized that Wen Jingping's position in Dou Tiany's heart might not be as important as she thought. After learning that Wen Jingping was actually not living under the same roof as Dou Tiany, she was even more certain of this idea. Now, Hai Entertainment had sent Zhuo Wanshu over as one of the bargaining chips for their cooperation. Was it a show of goodwill or something else? Su Yiyan stared at the proposal for a while, then suddenly asked, "Do I look like a fool to you?" "It doesn't look like it." Su Yiyan snorted and threw the proposal back to Xia Junsheng. "Then reject it. If he wants to cooperate, then cooperate. Do you think I don't care about my reputation?" Although there were no eternal enemies in the business world, only eternal benefits. However, Dou Tiany was a strange person, and his attitude towards her was inexplicably ambiguous. He was not a good person to cooperate with. Xia Junsheng was relieved when he heard what she said. Obviously, he was not optimistic about this cooperation. "How's the company doing while I was away?" "It was pretty good. The artists you had your eyes on are now on the right track. According to the route you arranged for them, they did not arrange too many jobs or endorsements. They focused on learning." Su Yiyan was suddenly interested. "Didn't they complain at all?" Chapter 821. There must be complaints, but they're just complaining. In private, they're quite well behaved, and they're not half-hearted in their work. That's good. We can arrange some better resources for them. Especially for Huang Zitong and the others. We can arrange for the endorsements that we had our eyes on before. Everyone saw Su Yiyan's protectiveness. The reason why she didn't give these people a lot of resources from the beginning was because she wanted to give them two reasons. Firstly, he wanted to give these people some time to find their own positions. Secondly, he wanted to see how these people's mental fortitude was after suddenly becoming famous. The reason why this industry was so flashy was that some inexplicable dirty things were one reason. Another reason was that artists liked to be arrogant when they became famous. What she wanted was a money tree that could suck in money for a long time. She didn't want to be a weed that could be trampled on by anyone who wanted to dig their own grave. "How are the filming of the dramas that you invested in before?" "A few of them have been finished. The fast ones have been submitted for review, and the slow ones are still in post-production editing. It may take a month or two to finish filming the period dramas and xianxia dramas that have relatively long plots." Su Yiyan's eyes flashed slightly and she nodded. "Okay, I see." Su Yiyan received an olive branch from Hai Yi as soon as she went to work. She was in a subtle mood. On the other side, Huo Chenhuan, who had shamelessly taken more than half a year of paternity leave, also encountered a little trouble. Ever since Huo Chenhuan had appeared at the company's shareholders' meeting and removed Huo Qihan from the position of the company's head at lightning speed and replaced him, Huo Qihan had been looking for trouble with Huo Chenhuan. Unfortunately, Huo Chenhuan didn't give him the chance. Although Huo Qihan wasn't penniless when he was kicked out of the company, he should have been high and mighty, enjoying the flattery of others, but now he had become a stray dog. This psychological gap was the most fatal. He wanted to rush back to the company and take everything back from Huo Chenhuan. However, the security guards at the door, who were originally just watchdogs in his eyes, stopped him outside. No matter how much he punched and kicked, he was not allowed to get close to the company. He even directly pushed him to the ground after being angered. Huo Qihan had always been pampered and was not young anymore. How could he be a match for these tall and strong security guards? He fell on his butt on the spot. The physical pain was secondary. Huo Qihan could never forget the way the people around him looked at him at that time. Huo Qihan, who had been deeply humiliated, returned home and smashed everything in the house to pieces. After that, she still felt that it was not enough to vent her anger, So she wanted to go to the family Hua mansion to find trouble with Hua Qinhuan. She even maliciously thought that it would be best if she could meet Su Yiyan when she went there. His son was gone, so what right did Hua Qinhuan's son have to come to this world? Anyway, he had nothing now. Even if he died, he had to drag a few people down with him. It would be best if one of them died so that Hua Qinhuan would have nothing left. Hua Qihan had wishful thinking, but he couldn't even touch the edge of the old mansion. Hua Qihan went back and lost his temper again. He wanted to find someone to help him, but he found that the people who usually came and went at his beck and call had already hidden far away. It was good enough that they didn't take advantage of the chaos to trample on him, let alone help him. Before he could do anything, bad news came from home. Hua Xiaofeng rushed into the old house where they lived with a few people, and took away all the cash and jewelry in the family. Hua Xiaofeng's move was tantamount to the last straw that broke the camel's back. Chapter 822. After Hua Qihan received the news, he almost fainted on the spot. Unfilial son, this unfilial son. When he returned home and saw the mess on the ground and the broken safe, he was so angry that he almost spit fire. Call the police right now. Get someone to arrest him. I want him to go to jail. To jail. No. Unexpectedly, it was Xue Xiao who persuaded Hua Qihan at this time. Brother Han, there are so many pairs of eyes outside staring at us, waiting to see us make a fool of ourselves. If this matter is spread out, I don't know how many people will secretly laugh at us behind our backs. And at this time, if they know that our money has been robbed. Xue Xiao's words were like a basin of cold water poured over Hua Qihan's head. Yes, calling the police at this time was tantamount to handing the evidence to those who laughed at them behind their backs. Those who had been indifferent to him might hit him when he was down and couldn't wait to trample him into the ground. Moreover, his son had brought people to rob his father. If this matter was spread out, he would really become a laughingstock for everyone. Between face and money, Hua Qihan finally chose the former. It was just that he couldn't swallow this anger no matter what. He secretly swore in his heart that one day he would find Hua Xiaofeng and kill this ungrateful unfilial son. Obviously, they were father and son, but they had reached the point where they would not stop until one of them died. It was really sad. The people around him left him one by one. Hua Qihan was resentful and angry, but he trusted and loved Xue Xiao more and more. Baby, I only have you now. You can rest assured that I'm just frustrated for a while now because of Hua Qinhuan. That be ****. When I recover, I will immediately get back what belongs to me. When that time comes, I will marry you in a grand manner and make you the one and only Mrs. Hua. Xue Xiao obediently approached Hua Qihan's arms and said softly, I don't care about status. As long as I can be with Brother Han like this. Even if I don't have a status, even if life is hard, I will gladly endure it. Hua Qihan. Hua Qihan was greatly moved and hugged Xue Xiao tighter. He was thinking about how to take revenge on Hua Xiaofeng and his mother, and how to compensate his little lover. He did not notice the coldness and disgust in the eyes of the person in his arms when she lowered her eyes. Hua Xiaofeng's last kick had greatly damaged Hua Qihan's vitality, and temporarily diverted some of the firepower away. By the time Hua Qihan recovered a little, the baby in Su Yiyan's stomach had already been born. Even the full moon ceremony had begun. Hua Qihan gritted his teeth in hatred. He had racked his brains to get himself an invitation to the full moon ceremony, and came to ruin the lively banquet. But once again, he found that those who used to have close relationships with him had already changed their faces. Not only did he fail to get an invitation, but he also suffered a round of mockery and humiliation. In the end, he had no choice but to forge an invitation card in an attempt to get away with it. However, before he entered the hotel, he discovered that his name had already been blacklisted by the hotel. Not to mention that the invitation card in his hand was fake. Even if it was real, it was impossible to let him in. Hua Qihan flew into a rage, and almost fought with the hotel staff on the spot. In the end, he was politely asked to leave. After several setbacks, Hua Qihan, who had experienced the fickleness of the world for a few months, only felt that now he was like a stray dog, worse than a rat crossing the street. And the person who caused all this was now sitting in a high-rise building, enjoying the various benefits brought by money and power. Chapter 8:23. Was Hua Qihan willing to accept this? Of course he was not. After learning that Hua Qinhuan had finally returned to work at the Hua Corporation, Hua Qihan immediately contacted a large number of media outlets, hoping to use public opinion to make things difficult for Hua Qinhuan. Little did he know that what he did was tantamount to a clown in Hua Qinhuan's eyes. Young master, Hua Qihan came downstairs again. Although Hua Qinhuan had taken over the Hua Corporation from Hua Qihan, he did not trust anyone in the company. Ignoring the senior executives who tried to curry favor with him and tried to plant spies around him, Hua Qinhuan directly transferred Zui Yanbai over and let him be his chief executive secretary. During his absence from the Hua Corporation, Zui Yanbai handled the company's affairs on his behalf and had the same right to speak as him. Not only did those higher-ups fail to do so, they had no choice but to look up to a young junior. How could they endure such humiliation? During Hua Qinhuan's absence, this group of people had made things difficult for Zui Yanbai. Fortunately, Zui Yanbai was not a simple person who could be bullied. He had given these people several big gifts while talking and laughing. So many people were now afraid when they saw him smile. Again, Hua Qinhuan raised his eyebrows slightly and instantly caught the key point. Did he come often during my absence? Not often. He came to see you every 10 days or half a month. When he saw that you were not here, he left. 10 days or half a month. Hua Qinhuan sneered. After he took over the Hua Corporation, he had not come for 2 or 3 months. Once every 10 days or half a month was not a small number. What is he doing downstairs? Previously, he just sent people to make trouble downstairs. Today, he may know that you are coming and found a lot of reporters. He probably wants to lead public opinion and make trouble for you and the Hua Corporation. Hua Qinhuan's expression did not change after hearing this. He only said meaningfully, "How did he know that I would come today? Or rather, how did he manage to contact so many reporters and bring them here so quickly?" Zui Yanbai narrowed his eyes. He instantly understood what Hua Qinhuan meant, and his face turned ugly. "I'll leave this matter to you. I want to know the results of Dou Tianyi's infiltration into the hotel within a week." Yes. Hua Qinhuan stood up and was about to leave when Zui Yanbai's expression changed slightly. He was a little anxious. "Young master, I'll go down and check on my big brother. But those reporters, do you think they can hurt me?" "Of course not." After Hua Qinhuan took over the Hua Group, she strengthened all the security around the company. Hua Qihan could only shout outside the door. It was not so easy for him to enter the building. But Hua Qihan clearly wants to bring these reporters here. "Do you think I don't know what he's thinking?" Hua Qinhuan sneered. Her eyes were full of coldness and sarcasm. After so many years of indulging in luxury, he only knows how to play these dirty tricks now. Looking for reporters? He's digging his own grave. Zui Yanbai was stunned. Only then did he remember that Hua Qinhuan still had some things in her hands. She could throw any of them out and blow Hua Qihan up. She did not throw them out because too many people were involved. She did not want the Hua Corporation's stock price to fall too badly. But if Hua Qihan continued to make trouble like this, his young master might not be able to tolerate it. Anyway, his young master could afford to pay for this small amount of money. He had been in this company for a long time, so taking drastic measures might not be a bad thing. Chapter 8:24. At that time, Hua Qihan still didn't know that his unfilial son had handed the back of his neck to Hua Qinhuan before he defected. As long as Hua Qinhuan moved her hand slightly, it would be enough to break his throat and send him to hell. Hua Qihan led a group of reporters to wait downstairs under the hot sun. He thought that he would return empty-handed today. These reporters had accompanied him under the scorching sun for so long. They were resentful and would definitely do their best to criticize Hua Qinhuan. However, before Hua Qihan could finish imagining Hua Qinhuan's tragic situation of being besieged by public opinion, the person he thought would never appear walked down the stairs so openly. The reporters who had been surrounding Hua Qihan swarmed forward like beasts smelling meat, trying to put their microphones directly in Hua Chenhuan's face. The security guards at the door naturally wouldn't let them do that. Before the reporters approached, they built a human wall in front of Hua Chenhuan, separating the reporters from Hua Chenhuan. Hua Qihan also reacted at this time. He quickly stepped forward and shouted, "Hua Chenhuan, you took over your brother's company. Aren't you afraid that your parents will come after you?" It would have been fine if Hua Qihan hadn't mentioned Hua Jiniao and Hua Mummy. As soon as he mentioned them, Hua Chenhuan's face suddenly darkened. She sneered and said, "If you're not afraid, why should I be?" When the reporters heard what he said, they instantly felt as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They felt that they had vaguely spied on the secrets of the rich and powerful, and could make big news at any time. Hua Qihan really didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to say that. His eyes widened and he was stunned for a while. When a few reporters saw that they couldn't get close to Hua Chenhuan, they changed their target to themselves and surrounded him. Hua Qihan seemed to have woken up from a dream. He gritted his teeth and said, "What's there to be afraid of? Dad left the Hua Corporation to me in his will. At that time, your legs were crippled. Out of consideration for our brotherly love and pity for you, I kept helping you and encouraging you. I didn't expect that once your legs were healed, you would take away the only thing Dad left for me and even chase me out." Hua Qihan's words were bitter and hateful. He portrayed himself as a victim who had been bullied because of his kindness. At the same time, he also blackened Hua Chenhuan and blatantly portrayed him as an ingrate who repaid kindness with ingratitude. Zui Yanbai was infuriated as he listened. What did he mean by helping you out of pity and encouraging you? He almost couldn't recognize these two words. It was already good enough that Hua Qihan, that be asterisk starred, did not secretly play tricks to make his young master's leg injury worse. Would he encourage him to help treat his young master's leg injury? What a joke. Compared with Zui Yanbai's anger, Hua Chenhuan's expression did not change. He was so calm that it was as if he was listening to someone else's business. After Hua Qihan pretended to finish his words, Hua Chenhuan faintly spat out a few names. Song Gangyi, Zhang Haoai, Nie Minji. Hua Chenhuan finished reciting more than a dozen names in less than a minute. The people around did not understand why Hua Chenhuan suddenly recited the names. Hua Qihan was dumbfounded. From the moment he heard the first name, the expression on his face froze. The more he heard, the angrier his face became. When he heard the last name, Hua Qihan's face was as pale as paper. His eyes were wide open, and he looked at Hua Chenhuan in disbelief. His eyes were full of horror and a trace of fluttering luck. Hua Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly. Her clear voice shattered Hua Qihan's trace of fluttering luck. "These are the names of the company's layoffs today. You should be familiar with them." Chapter 825. Hua Qihan had been in charge of the Hua Corporation for more than 10 years. After the initial panic, he quickly forced himself to calm down and said sadly, "What do you want to do? These are all old employees of the company. They have worked hard for the Hua Corporation, even if they didn't make any contributions. You can't just drive me away, but you also want to drive away these old employees who have worked hard for the Hua Corporation? Aren't you afraid that the company will be disappointed?" Disappointed? If they aren't afraid that what they did will make the company's employees feel disappointed, why should I keep this fig leaf for them? When Hua Chenhuan said this, he stared into Hua Qihan's eyes. His gaze was cold and sharp, as if it could penetrate his outer shell and strip away all the greedy and dirty thoughts in his heart, and expose them to the world. They are indeed old employees who have worked hard for the company. If they knew their place and diligently did their jobs, I naturally wouldn't touch them. It's just that they shouldn't have used their identities to do things that are against the law. Hua Qihan's face completely changed. He struggled to push aside the reporters in front of him, and wanted to rush forward. Hua Chenhuan winked at the people in front of him. The originally impenetrable human wall quickly opened a small gap, just enough for Hua Qihan to squeeze through. The reporters behind Hua Qihan suddenly came to their senses when they saw this. They also ran over, wanting to tear open the gap and rush to Hua Chenhuan. Unfortunately, their reaction was not as fast as the security guards, and they were once again blocked outside the human wall. Some people were so angry that they couldn't help but want to curse. They were stopped, but their mouths were still a little unwilling to be left out. President Hua, do you have any explanation for Mr. Hua's claim that you colluded with the company's old employees to force his brother out of the Hua Corporation? President Hua, is what Mr. Hua just said about the will true? Did old President Hua really leave a will to Mr. Hua? So now you're taking the Hua Corporation away from your brother. Are you dissatisfied with old President Hua's arrangements before his death? President Hua, what exactly do you mean by breaking the law and breaking the discipline? The old employees you just mentioned, were they fired because they did something unspeakable? Will you hold them accountable? President Hua, please answer our questions. President Hua. The reporters asked questions one after another. Hua Chenhuan casually responded to any one of them, and it was enough to turn into big news about the internal disputes of the rich and powerful. However, he did not say a word. Instead, he looked coldly at Hua Qihan, who had rushed up to him and was about to grab his collar. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes. She stretched her long legs forward and kicked Hua Qihan's knee under the cover of the human wall. Hua Qihan instantly lost his balance and fell to his knees in front of Hua Chenhuan. Zui Yanbai was so happy that he whistled on the spot. Aya, it's fine that you're here. Why are you suddenly giving me such a big bow? Quickly get up, quickly get up. You're already so old. Aren't you shortening our young master's lifespan? That being said, Zui Yanbai had no intention of stepping forward to help her up. From beginning to end, she stood by the side and watched coldly. She even seemed to be gloating. You. Hua Qihan almost exploded with anger. He struggled to get up, but Hua Chenhuan held his shoulder and kept him in a kneeling position, unable to move. Do you know where I got these things? Chapter 8:26. Hua Qihan's whole body trembled, and his face went blank for a moment. He knew what Hua Chenhuan was talking about. On the one hand, he encouraged himself in his heart. He felt that it was impossible for Hua Chenhuan to really get any crucial evidence. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to hold back until now. On the other hand, he couldn't help but feel nervous and afraid. What if? If he really did have it, then wouldn't he? Hua Chenhuan saw the fear in Hua Qihan's eyes and sneered with some sarcasm and temptation. Go back and ask your good son. Hua Qihan's face changed and he roared. Impossible. Hua Chenhuan stared at him condescendingly and said with pity, why is it impossible? Do you think he won't betray you, or do you think he doesn't have the ability to get what you are trying to hide? Hua Qihan's face turned green and white, but he couldn't say a word to refute Hua Chenhuan. Hua Xiaofeng had already taken his family's money and ran away. Hua Qihan couldn't say that it was impossible for his son to betray him. As for whether he had the ability or not, in Hua Qihan's opinion, it was indeed impossible for Hua Xiaofeng to have this ability. But the key was that before the father and son fell out, Hua Qihan also valued and loved his son very much. Because of this, Hua Qihan had never been on guard against Hua Xiaofeng at that time. It was not surprising that Hua Xiaofeng would get these things. Understanding this, Hua Qihan trembled with anger. He had never realized so deeply in his life that it was better to have a piece of barbecued pork than to have a son like Hua Xiaofeng. Hua Chenhuan's purpose had been achieved. She was too lazy to waste her breath on these people. She directly asked someone to throw Hua Qihan out, and turned to enter the company. Young master, you told Hua Qihan that those things were given to you by Hua Xiaofeng. Do you want them to kill each other? Haven't they already killed each other? Ever since Hua Xiaofeng had led his men to loot Hua Qihan's house, or even before that, there was no possibility for the father and son to reconcile. What he was doing now was only adding fuel to the fire, making this father and son fratricidal drama even more exciting. Not long after the farce over Hua Chenhuan ended, the reporters struck while the iron was hot, and came up with 7 or 8 strange news versions. When Su Yiyan received the news page sent by Ling Xiaoqi, she was busy arranging for the internal staff to be transferred to other positions. She didn't want to click on the news that suddenly popped up. He glanced at the title and saw the words Family Hua, Brothers Yamawal. Family Hua brothers? Could it be her husband? When he clicked on it to take a look, it was true. The reporter who wrote this report was obviously an experienced editor. He was very sophisticated in his choice of words and sentences. His words were concise and vivid in reconstructing what had happened at the scene. There was also a small video of the scene. The resolution of the video was not high. It was obvious that it was taken from a distance. Only the outline of the figure could be vaguely seen, but the sound was not low. When Su Yiyan first heard Hua Qihan's questioning of Hua Chenhuan, he was so angry that he almost slammed the table and stood up. He immediately wanted to rush to the Hua family to tear Hua Qihan apart. However, he was immediately met with his own man's counterattack. Although Su Yiyan, like most of the people present, had no impression of the names mentioned by Hua Chenhuan, he could roughly guess that these people were part of the evidence Hua Xiaofeng gave to Hua Chenhuan about Hua Qihan's crimes. Hua Qihan's reaction also confirmed this. Chapter 8:27. Su Yiyan was quite angry when he saw the beginning of the video, but he felt refreshed and relieved when he saw the end. Especially when he saw Hua Qihan kneeling in front of Hua Chenhuan, Su Yiyan almost slapped the table in praise. Hua Chenhuan's kick to Hua Qihan was blocked by the group of security guards in front of them, so the reporters with their cameras did not capture it at all. Therefore, in this video, Hua Qihan desperately rushed to Hua Chenhuan, knelt on the ground, and begged him for something. After hearing this, Hua Chenhuan leaned over and patted him on the shoulder, asking someone to drag him away. When he was carried past the reporters, Hua Qihan was still in a trance, as if he had suffered a huge blow. Combined with what Hua Chenhuan had said to him before, some network detectives had already begun to imagine the truth behind this video. There were only a few possibilities in their imaginations. Was the so-called will of the family Hua true? Between the two brothers of the family Hua, who was the real master of the Hua group? Why did the elder brother, who was so indignant a few minutes ago and accused his younger brother of being an ingrate, kneel down and beg for mercy in front of his younger brother a few minutes later? Were there any hidden secrets in this? Also, what was the so-called layoff list? What did the second master of the family Hua mean by breaking the law and discipline? Looking at the elder brother's nervous expression, did these old employees who were about to be fired have anything to do with him? Did the things that his younger brother said have anything to do with him? Su Yiyan stared at the large group of reporters in the video, and immediately guessed the whole story. Hua Qihan wanted to use these reporters to put pressure on Hua Chenhuan, but he should also know that this would not change anything. However, he had a miserable life, but he had to watch his nemesis get better and better. How could he be willing to do that? Even if he could not change the situation, he wanted to disgust Hua Chenhuan. Unfortunately, he was too self-righteous and forgot that these reporters were the best at taking advantage of the situation. They helped him because they thought that he could bring them big news. When this big news was related to him, they could still turn around and bite off a piece of meat from him. You deserve it. Su Yiyan laughed and scolded him. She couldn't wait to see Hua Qihan being arrested and sent to prison. As her own boss, Su Yiyan openly slacked off during working hours without any professional ethics. She repeatedly watched the blurry video several times, imagining the heroic posture of her man tearing the scum apart with his bare hands. In the end, he decided to leave early and go home to cook a table of delicious food to reward her. Unfortunately, plans could not keep up with changes. When Su Yiyan arrived home, the nanny had just finished feeding the baby and walked away. The baby lay alone in the cradle and looked around with his grape-like eyes. Suddenly he paused and shuddered. Compared to Silly Boy, who was used to playing around, Dundun liked to stay by the baby's side and would occasionally help the baby push the cradle. Dundun seemed to have sensed that something was wrong. It climbed onto the table and looked down at the cradle with its dark eyes. When Su Yiyan came in and saw this scene, she smiled. Just as she was about to approach, she heard a soft sound from the cradle. "Da-woo." Dundun was frightened by this sound and immediately rolled off the table with a howl. The little guy seemed to be amused by Dundun's exaggerated reaction and grinned. "Ha ha ha." Then there was another sound. "Da-woo, Su Yiyan." Chapter 8:28. The little guy burped and couldn't stop. Su Yiyan watched from the side. It was fine at first, but she couldn't help burping with him. Uncle Zhang held the little guy and patted him for a while. Fortunately, the little guy stopped burping. When he turned around, he met Su Yiyan's lingering fear. He was startled and smiled faintly. "Young madam, don't worry. It's normal for children to burp. Even adults occasionally burp. It's just that children's stomachs are more delicate. If they eat too much or too fast, it's easy for them to burp." Su Yiyan was deep in thought when she heard that. She then poked her son's little face and said, "You drink milk so quickly every time. Be careful that you don't become fat and can't find a wife in the future." The little guy thought that his mother was playing with him. He hugged Su Yiyan's fingers and giggled. Su Yiyan played with the little guy for a while, then turned around and went into the kitchen. She took a deep breath and turned on the live broadcast camera that she hadn't turned on for a long time. After nearly 3 months, the audience in Su Yiyan's live streaming room finally waited for their host again. "Oh my god, I'm crying. The host is broadcasting again. It's a lifetime series. Hello, Grandma. The host you follow is broadcasting again. Come and see. Why do I feel like the host has lost weight? Sure enough, beautiful women are just fat for fun. Upstairs, look at my helpless little eyes. After the host gave birth to the baby, she naturally lost weight. And it's reasonable to suspect that you haven't watched the host's live broadcast. The host hasn't shown her face yet. Where did the word beautiful woman come from? Did some people have their lungs pierced? As long as it's a girl, she's called a beautiful woman. Is this an adjective? It's just a courtesy. Do you think I don't know if the host has shown her face? Do you need to pretend to be a fox pretending to be a tiger and criticize me righteously?" Su Yiyan didn't expect that after not broadcasting for a few months, the audience would tear her apart over whether she was a beautiful woman or not. Fortunately, the host appeared in time and didn't say much nonsense. He directly smashed a few villas to drown out those discussions. Congratulations to the host, Yan Yan, for receiving a luxurious Villa X10 from the host, Mountain Yusu. Please continue to work hard and don't let down your youth. Mountain Yusu. The host's appearance and face-related discussion is prohibited in the live broadcast room. First warning, second ban, third permanent ban. Hope you know. The notification was as domineering as ever. It silenced the noisy audience, and the comments in the live broadcast room were peaceful. After a few seconds, the audience began to speak one after another. Good job. Admin, isn't it a common practice to not discuss topics about the host's face in the live broadcast room? Newbies, remember to read the rules of the live broadcast room before entering the live broadcast. If anyone still wants to incite conflict in the live stream after being reminded, they will be dealt with as trolls and paid posters. As soon as this comment was posted, it immediately received the approval of countless viewers. They had been watching Su Yiyan's live broadcast for more than a year. They boasted that they had seen a lot of storms and waves. They were more and more skilled in dealing with such matters. Su Yiyan stared at the announcement made by her host. It was as if she suddenly had a backbone. She couldn't help but smile a little more. Long time no see. I'm the host, Yan Yan. I haven't been broadcasting for a few months because of the baby. I thought everyone had forgotten about me. I didn't expect there to be so many people watching the live broadcast room. Chapter 829. When Su Yiyan said this, she looked up at the number of viewers in the upper left corner of the live broadcast room. In just a short while, a large number of viewers flooded in, and the number of viewers in the low 7 digits shot up to the high 8 digits. She was undoubtedly the top streamer. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, the comments on the bullet screen immediately increased, and a lot of flattery and confessions quickly took place. The host really doesn't know how popular she is. These are only a small number of people. At this time, many people have just gotten off work and probably haven't reacted yet. If it's any later, I'm worried that the live broadcast room will be overcrowded. Ha 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 ha, I'm worried too, so I'm taking a seat obediently. No one can squeeze me out. Hello, is this Uncle Cop? I want to report that the guilty party is suing the victim first. It's clearly the host's family of 3 living happily and forgetting about us. How dare you accuse us of forgetting you? You should be punished. Punish the host by making a big meal today as a reward for us. As long as the host doesn't turn off the broadcast, we won't leave. We'll walk the flower path with the host until the end of the world. I always felt that something was missing when the host wasn't around. Now that the host is back, let's send some gifts first. After such a long hiatus, countless enthusiastic viewers spontaneously showered Su Yiyan with gifts. In a short while they pushed her back to the top of the gift list. Su Yiyan was shocked by the enthusiasm of the crowd. She was stunned for a moment before she reacted. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Thank you for your support, everyone. Stop showering me with gifts. I'm embarrassed to receive gifts after such a long hiatus. Ha 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 ha. We want the host to feel embarrassed so that she can broadcast more in the future. Brothers, let's send gifts. F***CK, there's such a thing. I get it. Let's send gifts. Su Yiyan's words not only failed to persuade them, but also made them send gifts even more happily. She really couldn't keep up with these people's brain circuits. Ahem. Today, I'd like to bring you some medicinal cuisines for children's illnesses. Children? Did the streamer want to do this live stream because of the baby at home? Speaking of which, the host's baby is almost a month old, right? I want to see a cute baby. +1. The host and her husband's children must be very cute. Even if they can't see the host, they can look at the children. As an old single dog, my favorite thing to do is to suck puppies. If the streamer allows the baby to show up, I promise to abandon the previous harem of Zai Zai. From now on, I will only dote on the streamer's Zai Zai. Please Zai Zai, please Zai Zai. Su Yiyan looked at the comments that flashed by quickly. Even through the screen, she could imagine the greedy eyes of this group of weird uncles and aunties sharpening their knives to kill her child. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly, and she decisively ignored their requests. Children's stomachs are tender and delicate. Compared to adults, they are weaker. Usually, if the child really had a minor illness or pain, parents were also afraid that taking too much medicine would not be good for the child's health. Today, I'll bring you a few medicinal cuisines that are suitable for children's tastes, can improve children's physiques, and speed up their recovery. Su Yiyan said as she took out the ingredients for today's dishes from the cabinet at the side. She arranged them simply and placed them on the table. Today, the first thing I'm going to make today is radish honey drink and lily beer pear lotus root soup. Chapter 830. The weather has changed a lot recently, and the temperature difference between day and night is nearly 10 degrees. It's the season for colds. If adults don't pay attention, it's easy for them to catch a cold, let alone children who are weak. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, she immediately got the approval of many of the mothers in the live broadcast room. Yes. My baby was affected 2 days ago. He caught a cold, had a fever, and had a runny nose. He lost a lot of weight in a few days. If the medicine is too light, it won't be so easy to recover. If it's too heavy, we're afraid that it will hurt the child. After catching a cold, he's uncomfortable. As parents, we feel like we're fighting a war. My baby is the same. He's usually very active, but when he catches a cold, he's like a kitten. Usually when he makes a fuss, I can't wait to pick him up and spank him. Now that he's not making a fuss, my heart feels sour and uncomfortable. The mothers were busy sharing their babies on the bullet screen. A group of single viewers trembled and didn't dare to speak. Sob. They couldn't keep up with others in marriage, and they couldn't keep up with giving birth. Lily and pear white lotus root soup. The main ingredients are lily, pear, and lotus root. It's recorded in Materia Medica that pear and lily have the effect of purging heat and reducing phlegm, moistening the lungs and quenching thirst. Lotus root also has the effect of clearing heat. Stewing these 3 things together can relieve a child's cold, cough, and other symptoms to a certain extent. As Su Yiyan spoke, she tore the lily into pieces and cut the pear and lotus root into small pieces. First, she stewed the lily and lotus root for 10 minutes, then added the pear together to make the soup. I've made a medicinal diet for coughing before, snow pear with rock sugar, which is also suitable for children. Today, I'm bringing another medicinal diet for coughing, radish honey drink. Radish has always been known to be better than ginseng. Oh, it's the ginseng that appeared in my live broadcast room before. New viewers who don't know can look through the previous recordings. Radish is rich in nutrients. It has the effect of reducing phlegm, stopping coughing, clearing heat, and promoting saliva. Ginger can kill bacteria and disperse cold. Together with honey and dates, it's very effective for coughing caused by colds. While Su Yiyan was speaking, the dates, radish, and ginger slices were all thrown into the pot and boiled. Both of the soups took some time. After they were cooked, Su Yiyan immediately started cooking other dishes. Next, I'll make 2 medicinal cuisines to improve the children's anemia. Some children are prone to anemia after 6 months of birth. At this time, they need to eat something to replenish their blood to improve their physique. There was a saying that one must first replenish iron in order to replenish blood. This was because iron could help the human body synthesize red blood cells, thereby improving anemia symptoms. Among all the ingredients, the liver contains the most iron element. Today, I'm going to make fresh eggplant liver and stir-fried lamb liver with chives. Both dishes use livers, but the lamb liver stir-fried with chives used lamb liver, while the pork liver stir-fried with eggplant was used. But no matter what, the white membrane on the liver had to be removed first. Otherwise, the liver would be full of a fishy smell. Not to mention children. Even adults might not be willing to eat it. Su Yiyan brushed a few times to remove the film, cut it into slices, and blanched it with water. Children's immunity is weaker, so you have to be more careful with what you put into your mouth. In order to avoid some invisible bacteria in the raw food, you can first boil it in water to sterilize it. It's safer. Su Yiyan fished out the slices of lamb liver as she spoke. She heated up the oil in the wok and stir-fried it with scallions and ginger, until it was fragrant. Then she poured in the lamb liver. In an instant, the live broadcast room was filled with smoke, and the aroma was overflowing. Chapter 831. Stir-fried lamb liver with chives was relatively easy to make. After stir-frying the lamb liver, add soy sauce and chives, and stir-fry it on high heat for a while. It had to be said that cooking still required some talent. After Su Yiyan became popular on the live streaming website, it wasn't that no one saw the business opportunity. They copied Su Yiyan's live streaming method, and wanted to create a second Su Yiyan. Especially in the 3 months when Su Yiyan was off the air, various live streaming platforms had emerged endlessly. There was even a platform that held a food live streaming competition in order to attract some viewers from Chew on Chew to attract some viewers. However, these streamers who were promoted by marketing power had neither Su Yiyan's Chinese medicinal herbs, nor her knife skills, nor her good craftsmanship that turned something rotten into something magical. Some of the viewers who were led away by the topic went to other streamers on other websites, and were fed a hand of poison. They had to run back to Su Yiyan's live streaming video to detoxify themselves. However, there was still a certain gap between a live streaming video and a live streaming video. After waiting for 3 months to be fed, the viewers were almost crying when they finally had a bite of good food. Without needing Su Yiyan's reminder, they couldn't wait to open the taste simulator and taste it. It's it. This familiar taste, sob. I'm so moved that I'm about to cry. After 3 months, I'm already crying in front of the screen when I'm eating the food in the streamer's live streaming room again. I hope the streamer can be more diligent in the future. Don't forget that other than the little rascal, there are also us viewers who have been waiting for you to come back and feed you. I actually quite like to eat pig liver, but there's no way to make it as fresh and crisp as the streamers. It's cooked but not burnt. Previously, when the streamer made pig liver porridge, I tried to make it myself once. It was shameful and dry, and I felt wronged and cried. These viewers' mouths were also fed by Su Yiyan's craftsmanship. Some of the things that were edible before were now difficult to eat. Why else would it be said that it was easy to go from simplicity to luxury, but difficult to go from luxury to frugality? Su Yiyan removed the water from the previously marinated pig liver and cut it into pieces. When she looked up, she saw the message and smiled faintly. Pig liver is shameful because of the white film inside. so it must be removed before cooking. If it's firewood, it's probably because you've been cooking it for too long. You can just cut it short. It was more troublesome to make fresh eggplant and liver. First, the boiled sweet potatoes were pressed into a puree. Then the pig liver and flour were added to mix it into a paste. After that, the thick pieces were kneaded out by hand and fried in the pan to form the eggplant and liver. After the tomatoes were stir-fried, the water starch was added, and the light soy sauce was thickened into a sauce. Then the sauce was directly drizzled over the eggplant steak. It was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, and the aroma of fresh eggplant and liver steak was the best. This dish can be eaten by babies born in October and above. However, you have to pay attention to the fact that you can't make the pork liver too hard when you cook the fresh eggplant and liver stew. Otherwise, it won't be easy to digest. Su Yiyan said while wiping his hands. Speaking of which, I'll be bringing a few medicinal cuisines that can relieve constipation in children. Honey milk sesame soup, mulberry desert cistanche soup, and sweet potato porridge. These three have a sweet taste and are not as bitter as medicine, so they are very suitable for children. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she was ready to start with the most time-consuming mulberry desert cistanche soup. Just as she took out the casserole, she heard a ding-dong sound from the live broadcast room. She originally thought that her man or some old viewers who came in later had sent her some gifts. When she looked up and glanced at it, the expression on her face froze. Chapter 832. Congratulations to the host Yan Yan for receiving 100 luxurious villas from a loyal viewer, not even one day. After testing, the amount of rewards given by the user, not even one day, in the Yan Yan's little kitchen, live broadcast room has met the upgrade requirements, automatically upgraded to the host's Silver Guardian. As soon as the reward message came out, the live broadcast room was immediately flooded with gifts. Not only did it stun the tens of millions of viewers in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room, but it also attracted some viewers from other live broadcast rooms and channels. If I remember correctly, a luxurious villa should cost 10,000 yuan, right? So this new nouveau riche just came in and threw in 1,000,000 yuan? The happiness of the rich is really not something that ordinary people like us can imagine. I'm so jealous. The nouveau riche who came to watch quickly gave out 1,000,000 yuan. This is no longer a nouveau riche, but a godly nouveau riche, right? After the number one daddy on the leaderboard, is there going to be another big boss in our live broadcast room? There were many nouveau riches squatting in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room, but because of the existence of Huachenhuan, the human-shaped bug who used public resources for private purposes, she occupied the number one daddy position all year round and laughed at everyone. On the contrary, it made the little nouveau riches, who could easily occupy a spot in other live broadcast rooms, somewhat inconspicuous. Now, it seemed that there was finally someone who could fight. Everyone present was a little excited, and wanted to see who was the real battle magnate among the nouveau riches. Of course, not everyone was happy to see this. Some viewers who were frightened by the unusual data couldn't help but feel a little worried. 1,000,000 yuan in one shot. If he's not a real nouveau riche, then his brain must be muddled and he used something that shouldn't be used. I hope it's not the latter. I just saw two similar news 2 days ago. I hope the host won't be affected by this. I also saw the one above. To be honest, I'm a little worried. In this regard, the new big boss's response was to give Su Yiyan another 100 luxurious villas. Not even one day. I didn't use it, I have money. The viewers in the live stream were stunned by this move, and the comments on the bullet screen went blank for a while before a comment popped up. F***CK listen. Is this something a human would say? The words "I have money" made me smell a little rich man's domineering aura. Where did this overbearing CEO come from? Someone come and wake me up. What do you mean rich man's domineering aura? Be direct, it's clearly the fragrance of money. The viewers in the livestream were relieved and began to flatter the newly promoted nouveau riche. However, Su Yiyan's face sank after seeing this person's ID. Not even a day. If the first few words were read backwards, wouldn't it be Do Tianyi? He appeared in her medicinal cuisine restaurant, sneaked into the hotel where her child's full moon ceremony was held, and the company that was originally completely opposed to her suddenly had a very good attitude and wanted to cooperate with her company. Now he appeared in her live broadcast room. Su Yiyan did not think it was a coincidence. Su Yiyan's mind was spinning. He didn't know how to reasonably ignore this new nouveau riche. The top of the live broadcast room was flooded with red packets again, and the colorful special effects followed. Congratulations to the host, Yin Yan, for receiving a luxurious villa *520 from the host. Mountain you 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 mountain. I knew mountain you 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 mountain you. Chapter 833. This reward was too overbearing. It was enough to make this special effect flash in Su Yiyan's live stream for more than an hour. Not only did it shock Su Yiyan, but it also stunned many viewers who had joked not long ago that the new nouveau riche would be able to knock down the number one daddy on the leaderboard. What the F***CK? Absent. JPG. Facts have proven that your daddy is still your daddy. The number one daddy on the leaderboard is the tallest. Even a pheasant who changed halfway wants to be a phoenix. Don't be afraid of him. Just do it, go for it. Wait, love is stronger than gold? When did the website have such an exclusive title? Why haven't I seen it before? I haven't seen it before either. It should be unlocked after spending a certain amount. Think about it carefully. Which streamer on the website is as rich as the one in our live stream? Look at this person's fan value. TSK. How much money did he spend on the streamer? Love is stronger than gold. Ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. Love is stronger than gold. Is this an official stamp? Come, let me see how many other flirtatious B***cheese want to usurp the throne. As long as the number one daddy doesn't fall, no matter how much you jump around, you'll only be a servant who washes feet. You can't even be considered a concubine. When Su Yiyan saw the 520, her eyebrows twitched. She silently shouted in her heart, "What a prodigal man." Before she could finish feeling heartache, Do Tianyi, not to be outdone, also threw a 520 over. Congratulations to the streamer Yin Yan for receiving 520 luxurious and exquisite villas from loyal viewers, none at all. Congratulations to the streamer Yin Yan for receiving 520 luxurious and exquisite villas from the great host, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the streamer Yin Yan for receiving 1314 luxurious and exquisite villas from loyal viewers, none at all. Congratulations to the streamer Yin Yan for receiving 1314 luxurious and exquisite villas from the great host, Mulberry Without Mountain. High reward after high reward flashed past the top of the live broadcast room like flowing water. The audience watched the battle between the two big shots. From the initial excitement to shock, fear, and finally numbness. They felt that their worldview had been reshaped. They almost couldn't recognize money anymore. Su Yiyan was the same. From the initial heartache to depression, and then to numbness, it took less than a minute. But even if he was numb, Su Yiyan still felt his eyes hurt when he looked at the screen full of colorful special effects. Finally, he couldn't help but smash the kitchen knife he used to cut sweet potatoes on the chopping board. Enough! The kitchen knife hit the chopping board with a loud thud. Everyone in the live broadcast room, including the two merciless money spamming machines, was shocked. Many people looked at the kitchen knife that was firmly inserted into the edge of the chopping board. Its tip even emitted a cold light. For some reason, they suddenly felt a chill run down their necks, and they immediately became cowards. This is a proper gourmet live broadcast room. If you want to spam, go somewhere else. Can't you see that the screen is occupied by you? Can't you let others speak? Can't you let others watch the live broadcast? The turtle dove has taken over the magpie's nest. Do you really think this is your territory? In other live broadcast rooms, the streamers greeted the big shots on the leaderboards with smiles, hoping that they would give them more rewards. This live broadcast room was different. Not only was it not grateful to the rich big shots who were spamming the screen to fight for favor, but it was also directly attacked by the irritable big sister. Many of the audience watching the live broadcast couldn't help but gasp. They broke out in cold sweat for Su Yiyan. They were afraid that she would attack the top daddy of the leaderboards and leave. However, unexpectedly, after being attacked, the two of them didn't continue to spam gifts. Instead, they admitted defeat. Chapter 834. Not at all. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Mountain Yusu, I didn't consider it well. I'm sorry. There won't be a next time. The audience's eyes widened as they stared at the two comments in disbelief. They had actually become cowards just like that. But why did they suddenly feel a little disappointed? However, with the two of them being scared, the audience, who had been a little worried, hardened their resolve. Tisk tsk tsk. Look at their tone. Don't they look like concubines who tried their best to fight for favor in front of the host, but were despised? So sad. Just these two? Concubines? They're at most 3 years old. Our host is not an emperor. She's a kindergarten director. She has one child in each hand. She specializes in dealing with naughty children. Ha ha ha, today's live broadcast is really worth it. Not only can I watch the host cook delicious food and eat delicious food, but I can also witness the big shots fighting for favor. I can also imagine the overbearing president falling in love with my palace. I'm so happy. I'm talking about you. Look at what you've done to the screen in the live broadcast room. The airship is flying everywhere, and the special effects are flashing. Our eyes are dazzled. So what if you're rich? Do you really think you can win the host's heart by throwing money around? Naive. The host is mine. The host is right. You can show off if you have a little money. Do you really think you can win the host's heart? Don't you know that the host has a husband and children? You're spoiling her. The audience, who had been blinded by the special effects and had some subtle hatred for the rich, seemed to have found their backbone in an instant. They began to mock and ridicule the two big shots who occupied the top of the list. As a result, after a comment was posted, and when they wanted to post more, they found, "Dear user, you have been banned for half an hour because your comments in the live broadcast room violated the forum rules. Please wait patiently for the ban to be lifted. Regulate the online comments. Happiness is yours and mine. Everyone. QEQ. What the hell, happiness is yours and mine?" It turned out that being rich was really amazing. Not only could you be first on the list, but your father could also be a room manager. The two of them stopped causing trouble, and the live broadcast room returned to its original liveliness and harmony. Su Yiyan temporarily turned off the flashing special effects and focused on making the remaining 3 medicinal cuisines. In addition to mulberries and desert cistanche, the mulberry desert cistanche soup also added black sesame seeds and stir-fried citrus aurantium. The mulberries were slightly sweet, and the black sesame seeds were rich. After boiling, the soup was sweet and delicious, and there was almost no medicinal taste. Honey milk sesame soup was a small dessert soup after meals. Fried sesame seeds with milk and honey were added. It was fragrant, sweet, and soft. It was very suitable for children who like sweet things. Ripe sweet potatoes also had their own sweetness. When mixed with sweet rice and boiled together with a little white sugar, it could also stimulate a child's appetite and promote digestion. By the time Su Yiyan was almost done with all the ingredients, the lily beer pear and lotus root soup was almost ready. She added the lily slices that she had prepared earlier and simmered them for 10 minutes. Okay, that's all for today's live stream. As usual, there would be a lucky draw before the broadcast ended. A few lucky audience members would be chosen, and each of them would get to taste a dish. Although today's theme is children's medicinal cuisine, these things can actually be eaten by adults as well. But do you adults have the nerve to snatch food from children? Adults who didn't have a conscience, rubbed their hands in glee and expressed their lack of moral integrity. Who wasn't a baby? Don't worry, we won't show mercy just because our competitors are children. Chapter 835. The lucky draw was very fast, and the list of the lucky audience members came out immediately. Su Yiyan glanced at it and confirmed that Do Tiany's ID was not on it. She breathed a sigh of relief and previewed the next live stream. Next time, if there are no accidents, the children will have diarrhea, hiccups, night cries, and nutritional deficiencies. Those who are interested can pay attention. The exact time of the live stream is to be determined. I will try my best to restore the previous live stream frequency. I won't stand you up for so long like this time. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she ignored the people in the live stream and coldly turned off the live stream. When she turned her head, she saw the figure of her man at the kitchen door as expected. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and couldn't help but sneer when she recalled the huge amount of money this person had spent on the live stream not long ago. Hua Chenhuan looked at his wife smile, and suddenly felt a chill down his spine for some reason. He felt that he might be in big trouble. Hua Beichen's crisis radar went off very quickly, and decisively went up to his wife to curry favor. I heard from Uncle Zhang that you ran to the kitchen as soon as you came back. Why did you suddenly think of cooking? Su Yiyan glanced at him and thought to herself, keep pretending, keep pretending. Half an hour ago, he was still spending a lot of money in the live stream, but now he was pretending to be a little white lotus. He was as innocent as he could be. I couldn't tell that he had the talent to be an actor. When I came back, I saw the baby hiccuping and suddenly had an idea, so I decided to start the live stream. The baby hiccuped? Hua Chenhuan thought to himself. Isn't the hiccuping part of the next live stream? Since she came up with the idea because of her baby hiccuping, why didn't she do it this time? Why did she leave it for the next live stream? However, a certain someone had to wear his little vest properly and couldn't just disappear. Even if he had a lot of doubts in his heart, he had to suppress them for the time being. If Su Yiyan knew what he was thinking, she would definitely reply, I'm happy to do it. Anyway, the baby can't eat these things right now. She can do whatever she wants. Uncle Zhang said that it might be because it drank the milk too quickly and was a little bloated. I just patted him, and he's fine now. Hua Chenhuan nodded in response, but her eyes unconsciously drifted to the few dishes that Su Yiyan had prepared. Is everything ready? Yes. I'll take it out for you. Hua Chenhuan didn't care about Su Yiyan's reaction. She picked up the 2 dishes on the table and ran out. Su Yiyan narrowed his eyes dangerously as he looked at his fleeing figure. You ran pretty fast. I'll deal with you later. Su Yiyan made a table full of dishes. There was porridge, soup, vegetables, and desserts. However, most of the dishes were sweet. Although children liked them, adults might not. I'm counting on you for today's meal. Hua Chenhuan's hand, which was putting down the vegetables, suddenly paused. Rely on me? That's right. Our baby is only a little more than a month old. He doesn't even know how to eat complementary foods. How can he eat these? This is for the big baby. Hua Chenhuan. So, you're saying that I'm the big baby? As if she could read Hua Chenhuan's mind, Su Yiyan smiled faintly and called out, Big baby, you have to eat well today too. Pfft. Uncle Zhang, who was standing at the side to help, couldn't help but laugh when he heard Su Yiyan's words. Ever since Master and Madam passed away, this was the first time he heard someone call his young master a big baby. Hua Chenhuan was stunned. She was shy and embarrassed, and the tips of her ears turned red. Chapter 836. However, he couldn't bear to say anything harsh to his wife, so he could only silently bury his head in his mouth and silently accept his status as a big baby. Su Yiyan secretly flirted with her husband, and she felt a little better. However, it was only a little. When she thought of the gifts that a certain someone threw at others in the live stream, Su Yiyan couldn't help but feel distressed. That was Huahua's money, and half of it was going to be swallowed by the platform. Although the gifts from Do Tianyi were probably not much, and they didn't make any profit or loss, Su Yiyan couldn't help but raise her head and look at Hua Chenhuan plaintively. Hua Chenhuan had just finished a small bowl of lily beer and pear lotus root soup when she raised her head and met Su Yiyan's subtle gaze. He had already eaten, so why did he still have such an expression? Hua Chenhuan frowned slightly and asked tentatively, Are you in a bad mood? Yeah. Who made you unhappy? Su Yiyan stared at Hua Chenhuan for a long time before she said faintly, When I was streaming just now, Two spendthrifts were fighting in my live stream. They made my live stream a little messy, so I'm a little angry. Hua Chenhuan almost choked on her porridge. Spendthrifts? She wasn't talking about him, right? It's the viewers who are watching my live stream. I don't know what's going on, but they suddenly started sending gifts to my live stream. Isn't it good to send gifts? It's not that it's bad, but everything has to be done in moderation. Going too far is as bad as not going far enough. Usually when they send 1 or 2 gifts, I'll know that they're watching my live stream and supporting me, and I'll be quite happy. But today, purely out of a moment's anger, they sent special effects flying all over the screen. My viewers' comments were all covered up by them, and my live stream was also blocked by them. It felt like the fruits of my labor weren't being respected. Furthermore, we should still moderate our spending. They spent so much money in my live broadcast room. Even if they don't feel anything, won't their families have any opinions? Hua Chenhuan met Su Yiyan's gaze. For some reason, she suddenly felt a little guilty. Perhaps, to them, this is just a small amount of money, not worth mentioning. Hua Chenhuan didn't think that she was a fool for spending so much money on the live stream. After all, the idea of that account was obviously related to Dou Tianyi. Not only did he go around looking for people to investigate his wife, but he also went to his wife's live broadcast room and wanted to spend money to kick him down from the top of the leaderboard and replace him. The ambition of a wolf could not be clearer. If he didn't go against this scheming fellow, was he supposed to watch helplessly as this dove took over his magpie's nest, occupied his position, and snatched his wife? Why didn't they ban Dou Tianyi's account? By banning his account at this time, wouldn't it be telling everyone that his financial resources were not as good as his, and that he was so guilty that he could only resort to dirty tricks? It's just money, who's afraid of who? Anyway, this money would eventually go back to his pocket. As the big boss, he was sacrificing himself to generate revenue for the website. Oh. When Su Yiyan heard what he said, she could not help but glance at Hua Chenhuan faintly. She thought to herself, to put it bluntly, I gave him too much pocket money. Tens of millions is just a small amount to him, Hua Jinyao, who was completely unaware that his pocket money was about to decrease, instinctively felt a trace of danger and tried to save himself. Then his gaze fell on the stir-fried lamb liver with chives. His eyes flickered. This dish. Chapter 837. Su Yiyan glanced at the dish quizzically. She frowned and asked, "What's wrong? You don't like the taste?" "No." Hua Chenhuan shook her head. She picked up the chives on the plate and smiled. "I remember you saying that this dish has another name. It's called..." Su Yiyan was stunned. Her face turned red. Chives did have another name. It was called aphrodisiac. From the name, it was obvious that it had a well-known use. "So you can't wait any longer? When you were discharged, the doctor specifically said that even though you have already completed your confinement, you still need to rest for 2 to 3 months to fully recover. Why don't we wait a little longer?" Su Yiyan. "You make it sound like I'm desperate. Go to hell, you scumbag. I'll be a dog if I talk to you again." The quick-witted president Hua successfully diverted his wife's attention from the pocket money. The price he paid was that they had to sleep separately for another month. The reason he gave was, "Since you think I can't wait any longer, but my body isn't in the right condition to do this, then let's sleep separately. Otherwise, I won't be able to wait any longer." Hua Chenhuan, who had shot himself in the foot. "I suspect that my wife is targeting me, and I have evidence." Su Yiyan originally thought that when she asked Xia Junxing to explicitly reject the collaboration with Hai-E Entertainment, they would understand her attitude and back off. However, she had underestimated the importance Dou Tianyi attached to this collaboration. The next day, Su Yiyan had just entered the company when Xia Junxing ran over with a serious expression. "What did you say? Dou Tianyi came to our company?" "Yes, President Dou and his special assistant from Hai-E Entertainment are waiting downstairs. Do you want to meet them or get someone to kick them out?" "Kick them out." Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. "Aren't you afraid that as soon as you kick them out, they'll contact the media and put the blame on our company?" Even if we don't kick them out, they can still put the blame on us. This had nothing to do with whether or not they were going to chase him away. The main thing was that this person had come to them for what purpose? Su Yiyan. You make so much sense that I have nothing to say. Xia Junxing seemed to notice Su Yiyan's rejection of Hai Yi's President Dou. So he comforted her. If you really don't want to see them, why don't you let me send them away? Don't worry, I definitely won't let them have anything on me. After Xia Junxing finished speaking, he saw that Su Yiyan did not object. He took it as Su Yiyan's acquiescence and turned to leave. Wait. Xia Junxing paused and turned to look at her in confusion. You can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. Let them come up, I will meet him personally. Xia Junxing was silent for a moment before replying. All right, I'll arrange it right away. However, please allow me to receive them as well. Su Yiyan knew that he was worried that he would clash with Dou Tianyi and wanted to watch from the side, so he did not refuse. A few minutes later, Xia Junxing brought Dou Tianyi and Li Yu over. Unlike the last time they met, Dou Tianyi came in a wheelchair with Li Yu pushing him from behind. He looked weak and harmless. Su Yiyan was not fooled by his appearance. She knew very well that under this harmless appearance, there was a wolf that could bite your throat out at any time. Dou Tianyi smiled warmly when he saw Su Yiyan. Miss Su, we meet again. Chapter 838. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed, and she pretended to be surprised. I didn't expect you to be the boss of Hai Yi Entertainment. Excuse me. It sounded like a very perfunctory explanation. Everyone present knew what the truth was, but no one dared to expose this layer of window paper. Dou Tianyi said with a smile. Then what does Miss Su imagine the boss of Hai Yi Entertainment to be? An old man in his 70s or 80s with a fat brain. Su Yiyan was speechless. If she hadn't known from the beginning that Dou Tianyi was the person behind Hai Yi Entertainment, she would have thought that was the image of the boss. After all, among the CEOs she had met, there were quite a few with this image. In addition, although Hai Yi Entertainment and Dongqing Entertainment didn't have much interaction before, they were all in the same industry. The artists in Hai Yi Entertainment had a lot of tricks up their sleeves. Before Su Yiyan took over Dongqing Entertainment was just a small company. The bigger artists were fine, but the smaller artists had suffered a lot under Hai Yi's artists. Su Yiyan couldn't possibly have a good impression of this company, so naturally, she didn't have a good impression of the boss of this company. Mr. Dou, did you come all the way here just to let me see for myself how young and promising the boss of Hai Yi Entertainment is? Of course not. Dou Tianyi could tell that Su Yiyan didn't welcome him. A complicated emotion flashed through his eyes. He went straight to the point. I came this time to talk to Miss Su about a joint project. A joint project? If I remember correctly, I've already asked someone to reject it. Miss Su's rejection means that Hai Yi Entertainment isn't sincere enough. So I came personally to bring Hai Yi Entertainment's sincerity and my own. When Dou Tianyi said this, his eyes were fixed on Su Yiyan with a gentle smile. The atmosphere in the office suddenly became subtle. Su Yiyan's face darkened, and Xia Junxing, who was standing by the side, frowned. Su Yiyan not only had a husband, but she also had a child. Was Mr. Dou's words really unintentional or intentional? Xia Junxing felt that the burden on his shoulders had suddenly become much heavier. No matter what, he couldn't let this person be alone with Su Yiyan. It was really too dangerous. Su Yiyan didn't know that in Xia Junxing's eyes, Dou Tianyi had already become a toad that wanted to eat swan meat. Unfortunately, she was the swan that was coveted. When she heard Dou Tianyi's words, she reflexively recalled the scene of her meeting with Dou Tianyi on the day of her son's one-month-old celebration. This person's attitude towards her was really very strange. It's not a matter of sincerity. I did see Hai Yi's sincerity in the proposal, but it's just that there's no point in working together. The two companies have different philosophies, so I don't think there's a need to cooperate. Different philosophies. Dou Tianyi raised his eyebrows. What makes Miss Su think that the two companies have different philosophies? Is it the actions of my company's employees? Or are some artists in the company blind enough to offend other artists in your company? Or is it simply because of Wen Jingping? Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed slightly. She didn't expect Dou Tianyi to be so straightforward. He directly pointed out the conflicts between Hai Yi and Dongcheng, and even mentioned Wen Jingping. Before Su Yiyan could react, she heard him say, "If Miss Su's philosophy is these, then this proposal can still be discussed." "What?" Dou Tianyi looked at her deeply and smiled. "I'll solve all the problems you're worried about and give you a satisfactory answer." That you're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.